Rayman Legends and Rayman Origins are arguably some of the most unique and best looking games of our generation. I mean, just the overall cartoony art style really shows off the hilarious and just zany personality that the game has. And it's because of this that I would probably rate it higher than 2D Mario. Don't kill me. And this is all thanks to this thing called the UbiArt framework, which is essentially what Ubisoft uses to make the games pretty. And luckily, Child of Light also uses this UbiArt framework. And to put it in short, it's also one of the best looking games of our generation. But how exactly does the actual game stack up? Well, let's find out. Right now.
Child of Light follows the story of Aurora, a young princess who, well, spoiler alert for the first 5 minutes, essentially dies. She then gets transported to a place called Lemuria, which has had its sun, moon, and stars taken away. So you then set off on your journey to regain the sky, return back home, and just grow up. The story's pretty simple, but later it gets pretty intriguing once you meet all the different characters and gain further understanding as to what's actually going on. When you first gain control of Aurora, the controls are pretty simple. You can move around and jump. But soon, you gain a very nice pair of wings and you can now fly wherever you want. Flying really opens up the world and it really gives you a good sense of freedom. It feels so natural just to fly around and really explore everything at your own pace. And this is the sort of game where you need to do this as well, as you can miss a lot of details that if you were to rush, you would completely miss. And when you are doing this exploring, you'll notice something that is absolutely incredible. The visuals. Ubisoft has really outdone themselves this time, as the graphics are sensational. The watercolor theme really makes the world feel like it's been ripped right out of a storybook, and the backdrops are really enjoyable to look at, and it adds a lot to the game. As for the soundtrack, it's so well made, and the somber and sad themes really work to the game's credit. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the composer's name, but they have done an incredible job with the music, especially the credits theme, which really put a final tick on the soundtrack for me. So overall, the music and visuals work together really well, and make immersing yourself into the world that much easier. As for the gameplay, the battle system is essentially like a JRPG, but with its own little spin. To be honest, I really don't like the whole JRPG system of tedious button presses, as it would usually start to get boring after the first hour or so. But games that add their own little trick to it really do grab my attention, especially Child of Light. The battle system in the game runs along a timeline on the bottom part of the screen, so pretty much you select your attack when the cursor of one of your characters touches the red, and then the attacker does the action at the end of the red. But if you were to attack an enemy when their cursor is in this red part, they get interrupted, and the attack that they were originally going to do gets cancelled completely. Enemies can do the same thing to you though, so it's pretty much even game. The little firefly Nicholas can also help you by slowing down opponents or healing allies. I found the system worked really well and it really kept you on your toes, especially when compared to a normal tedious JRPG battle. I also really liked that all of the allies you met had their own function. For example, a wizard has special elemental spells that can really help for enemies that are weak against an element, a jester who's helpful for healing, and an elf-like thing that has the ability to slow down enemies and even stop them completely. I found that I used all of the many characters really evenly, which is quite the feat for a game like this. Child of Light is a near perfect game, but there are some minor problems that I had. The story is engaging enough and there are some twists that I didn't see coming. But as good as the story is, it feels halted by something that feels especially forced. The dialogue. When anything in this game is spoken, it always rhymes. And when I say always, I mean always. Now this is a very good idea and it's really unique, but it starts to feel like the characters were wanting to say something, but instead were halted by this invisible wall that forced them to rhyme. It all feels really forced and it makes it harder to follow what's actually happening. Also, the ending of Child of Light is really well thought out, but it feels so rushed once it's finished, which is a big shame. But these are only minor problems to what is a near perfect masterpiece of a game that Ubisoft should be very, very proud of.
Now, something that comes apparent right from the get-go are the game's visuals. The visuals in this game work really well for the fantasy setting, as it just feels like a storybook. And even if it wasn't a fantasy setting, it would still look really nice, as it looks like essentially a moving painting. So I'm going to award this 3 points, as this game is downright delicious to look at. Now, something that complements the visuals quite perfectly is the soundtrack. The soundtrack's really sad and gloomy, but this really works well with the fantasy setting once again. And that credits theme nearly had me in tears, so I'm going to give this 3 points as well. Now, the battle system in this game is deceptively simple. It's really easy to pick up, but once it gets going, it gets really deep, especially for an eShop game. So I'm going to give this 2 points. Child of Light, you can do whatever you want essentially. You can go around and explore, or you can just keep going with the main story, whatever you want to do. And that's what I like about it. You feel so free to do whatever you want. And the customization really gives you some freedom as to what you want your character to do. So I'm going to give this 2 points as well. Now, something minor but I didn't really like about the game was some of the story aspects. I mean, the rhyming's cool, but it gets a bit annoying as it stops you from really talking to the characters and getting to know them. And something else I didn't really like about the story was its ending. Essentially, I'll give you a rundown without any spoilers, but essentially it's, you beat the final boss, and then one of those stale cutscenes runs, and then the credits roll. And that's it. I don't know what happened, did they run out of money or time or something? But yeah, that ending's really rushed. At least the credits are nice, but yeah. I'm just gonna minus 1 point for this, as it's not really a big deal, but you know, it's not nice to have.
Okay, let's see how Child of Light stacks up.
Child of Light is an extraordinary game. Just the battle system, the looks, the soundtrack, they work so harmoniously that it's incredible to play. So do your Wii U a favour, get an eShop card from your nearest shop, and trust me, this game will be on top. Get it? Because I just rhymed like Child of Light did, and it wasn't funny. Guess I'll just give up on life then. I'll drive off in my car. But don't worry, I won't go far. Strike 2, he goes again! Call the police, cause he's on fire! Woo, 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 woo! Anyway, that about wraps up my video for today, so remember to like, favorite, comment, subscribe, all of that lovely, lovely stuff, as it really helps me. And I'll see you all next time with my review for hopefully Mario Kart 8, which is very exciting. So I'll see you all then. Bye. And that's what I like about it. You feel so free to do whatever you want. And the customization really gives you some freedom as to what you want your character to do. So I'm going to give this 2 points as well.